With the recent news about Season 3 releasing on June 27th, I wanted to share my opinion on what we should expect in the final season. More specifically, I want to discuss the most likely characters to die in Squid Game Season 3. Let's start with someone obvious, and let me tell you, his death would fill my soul with happiness. I think some of you have already guessed that I'm talking about player 100. There's no way he will survive with Thanos dead and the front man leaving the games. He and Namgyu will remain the main antagonists. Player 100's death would be poetic justice. The person who was the biggest advocate for continuing the games would die playing them. This is absolute justice, and he deserves toady. I'm 100% sure he will not survive in Season 3. Moving on to the other antagonist, Namgyu will also die in the final season. In my opinion, his death will have something to do with Minsu as revenge for killing Semi. This would be a direct parallel to Daoksu's death, and it fits perfectly. Both are main antagonists, and both betrayed one of their teammates. Now let's speculate. Another possible death is player 333. I think he will die protecting Kim Junhee and her baby. In Season 2, we saw them slowly start to reconcile, and their relationship is improving. He goes from total disinterest to showing genuine care for MG Coin. We see her telling him not to risk his life during the rebellion. Also, Lee Myung-ji showed real concern for June, he and her baby in the second season. I am certain he will die in some way, protecting her, perhaps in a game similar to Marbles where he loses on purpose. The most heartbreaking death we would see in the last season would be the death of player 149 Jang Jiam-ya. We have a mother and son dynamic, a caring person who is kind to other, giving her food to the pregnant lady, acknowledging Hyunju as a woman, and inviting all of them to eat at her place. After the games, this would be too good for Netflix to pass out at this occasion to break our heart with her death. They purposely made us grow fond of her character just to shudder our souls in the same way they did with the lie. Her death would also devastate player 007 Park Young-sik. He would spend the rest of the games tormenting himself over why he voted to continue, and he would most likely die as well, blaming himself for her death. Another player who received a lot of attention in the second season and has a high chance of dying in the third season is player 388 Kang Da-ho. The final episode shows him trembling with fear, with some fans speculating that he was never actually a former Marine and was only faking it. However, I believe this is further proof that he was a Marine and that what he experienced during the fight was a severe episode of PTSD. But nonetheless, him going back and never returning basically guaranteed the failure of the mission and that all the players' death would be on his hand. I believe he will have a redemption arc, finding the courage to sacrifice himself for the others. We expect Gihan to find a way to stop the games, and this will likely involve another fight. The detective has also found the island, so his team would likely ally with Jihan to take down the creators. Dai-ho would most likely die in this final battle, saving another player, possibly Jihan. Another highly possible death is that of the female guard Kang No-yeol. Her concern for player 246 is evident throughout the second season, and it's likely that she was the triangle guard who shot him at the end. There is a lot of speculation that she shot him in the leg to transport him to the organ traffickers, intending to rescue him later. I believe this theory to be true, but I also think she would die trying. In the sneak peek photo, we see her outside in the forest without her mask. This could mean two things. Either she was caught trying to save 246, or she met with Yonho and decided to join him in fighting to stop the games. I think the latter makes more sense because it would give the detectives' assault team, an insider who knows the building's layout, an advantage they would need to successfully overthrow the guards despite their small numbers. Another very plausible death is that of player 125, Minsu. I don't think his cowardly nature gives him what it takes to survive these deadly games. Up until now, he has mostly been carried by Sammy, whom he betrayed both in the Mingle and the special game. He will most likely die in the first game of Season 3. This one is a 5,050 chance, but I lean toward the belief that she will die by the end of the series. I'm talking about player 40 for Seon Yo. After cursing Hyunju's team, none of them would ever help or lie with her in a game. Even though she now has her own group of religious fanatics, they likely won't provide any real advantage. I think her death will be tied to her blind faith in the gods. Perhaps there will be a challenge where players must make a critical choice, similar to how they had to pick numbers before the glass bridge in Season 1. Believing she has divine power, she would confidently choose a number 1, only to end up in the worst possible position for the new game. And lastly, we have the frontman. Yes, you heard that right. I believe the frontman will die at the end of the season because that would be the only way to truly stop the games. In fact, I'm not just thinking it. I'm really hoping for it. Deep down, I want to believe that he has always wanted to put an end to the games but felt trapped in his role. Now, with Gihan's actions, he might finally realize that humanity is still worth saving and choose to fight alongside him. There are a few hints throughout the first 2 seasons that suggest this, such as how he spared his brother and how he repeatedly protected Gi-hun. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think any of the mentioned characters will survive until the end of the series, or do you believe there will be even more unexpected deaths?